Okay, so lesson 8.4 is on factoring ax squared plus bx plus c quadratic trinomials. So what we're going to do is focus on a little secret called the power of the x. And we're going to talk about how this can help us in our factoring. So hopefully you find it to help. When we look at factoring, what we're going to talk about is an equation that has the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. And up to this point we've done everything. It's very similar to this, but we haven't been dealing with a coefficient or a number in front of the x squared. So today we're going to look at how that number will affect our factoring. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a and c and we're going to multiply them together to get our number that goes on top. So any value is going to go up here. So this is a times c equals the number that goes up top. The number for b we're going to put in the bottom. And that's going to simplify things for us to know that we are going to take numbers that multiply together to make a times c, but then add together to make b. So very similar to what we talked about with factoring the x squared plus bx plus c model. Then after we've done all that, instead of being done with x plus 3 times x plus 1 like we've done in the past, we're going to use this number for a and write it as a fraction in which we simplify. We're going to take the simplified form, and that'll help us write our binomials that we're going to use for multiplying. So let's see what it looks like. Hopefully that didn't confuse you too much. So the first step we have to do is 4, this is our a, this is our b, and this is our c. So 4 times 15 is going to be our top number, or 60. Our b is 16, so that's going to go down here. So we're looking for factors that multiply together to make 60, but when added together equals 16. So again, I've got to list all my factors of 60. So we can start with 1 times 60, 2 times 30, 3 times 20, and then we get 4 times 15, and we get 5 times 12. Fun's not working there. So 5 times 12 and 6 times 10. So when we look at all of the factors, we can see right away that 6 plus 10 is going to equal 16. So we're going to take our 6 as one of our factors here, and our 10 as our other factor there. We're going to write it that way. Our next step then is to go back and write this as a fraction over our value for a. So this is 6 over 4 and 10 over 4, and we're going to simplify those. So 6 over 4 can be simplified as 3 over 2, and 10 over 4 can be simplified as 5 over 2. And so now what we have is our numbers that we're going to use for our binomials. We're going to take 3 over 2, and this is going to be called bottoms up. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So this becomes 2x plus 3. And that would make up our first binomial. And then bottom up for the second one is going to be 2x plus 5. So our solution, or factored form on this, would then be able to take 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 5. And if we've done it correctly, we can use whichever method we want, the FOIL or the box method, and check our work. So 2x times 2x equals 4x squared. We can take 2x and multiply it by 5 and get 10x. We can take 3 times 2x and get 6x. And 3 times 5 and get 15. We combine our like terms and we're left with 4x squared plus 16x plus 15, which is exactly what we started with up top. So we know we've done it correctly. So that's one example. And this is an example in which we have a positive or a plus c and a plus middle number. Let's take a look at another example. Okay, first step is to multiply 6 times 3 and I get 18. Then I know I've got to end up with factors of 18 that equal 11. So 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. Well, I'm going to use 2 times 9 because when I add those together, I'm going to get 18. So, or when I add those together, I'm going to get 11, I'm sorry. So 2 times 9, so those are my two factors. Now I have to write these over our value for a, which is 6. And then I have to simplify. So 2 goes into both of these, so it's going to be 1 over 3. This simplifies. 3 goes into here 3 times. 3 goes into 6 2 times, or 3 over 2. So I'm going to be left with 3x, because I start at the bottom, plus 1 times 2x plus 3. And again, I could test it out. 3x times 2x gives me 6x squared. 3x times 3 gives me 9x. 1 times 2x gives me 2x. 1 times 3 gives me 3, or 6x squared plus 11x plus 3, which is what I started with. Okay. Another example. Now in this case, we're going to go 12 times 2 is 24. 11 is our middle number, so we're looking for factors of 24 that add together for 11. So 1 times 24, we know that's not going to work. 2 times 12, we know that isn't going to work. 3 times 8, that's what we're looking for. So 3 times 8 will give us our values. So I'm going to use 3 and 8. I'm going to write these over 2 because that's our a value. 3 over 2 can't be simplified, so we're going to leave that. 8 over 2 can be simplified. This is going to be 4 over 1. So by doing that, I can go back through 2x plus 3, because remember, the bottom number always goes with the first number. And then 1x plus 4. Thing to remember, like I said, is our bottom number always goes with the first number in the binomial. The top number always goes with the second number in the binomial. So that's where each of those numbers come from. Then we can refer to it as bottoms up, working your way from the bottom up. Okay. Our next example, the next example